hello. It is another episode of the From Her View podcast with me, Sade Camille. And I'm super excited for today's episode because I'm speaking on something that really brought clarity, information, perspective, and really was some healing information. And I was just like, oh my God, I gotta bring it to the podcast. Like when I was listening to this, I was like, this is so good. I have had it said to me that as far as like this topic goes, so we're going to be talking about rejection, and that I've been told that like a woman could not like a person, could not like a man, could not give him like not care at all. And they just reject you and you're just like so hurt about it. You're not hurt by the person, you're hurt by the rejection. It's just a rejection in general. I've also had it said to me that men handle rejection a little bit better. That's an air quote, right? Because they get rejected so often. And I feel like there's some truths and some myths to those statements, but I really want to dive a little bit deeper on that. I've shared in a previous episode, it was in Audio Bangers, and we were talking about UOU by Dr. Eric Thomas, and I was saying, how this person would particularly do this thing, and it would upset me, like, upset me a lot, like, upset me to the point where I was just like, F you, like, bro, stop talking to me, like, like, now you playing in my face, which it is still disrespectful, but it was the way that I reacted. So it's the actions that I take on after this thing that I was just like, what is going on? So I was partaking in my Bible study, which I do Touchpoint Tuesdays with the Hunger Church with Pastor Dr. Hart Ramsey, who I absolutely enjoy. I absolutely enjoy him in his teachings because he is a teacher. He gives you the information, he gives you the notes, he breaks it down, and he puts such perspective on things that really helps you think. So there's different gifts in the ministry and fivefold ministry. There, teaching, preaching, this teaching, preaching, administration, apostles and prophets, right? I believe that's right. Don't quote me, baby. Don't quote me. But teachers are a part of it. And so some of us can be or one, or a couple of different things, right? But I really like how he teaches information because I definitely grow. And that is one of the importance of a relationship with God, a relationship with Holy Spirit, just, being able to grow. Because we are human, there are experiences that we are going to all have, but it's how we react and act after those situations that really indicate where we are in the level of growth is concerned, like how grown up we are. And I really liked this because he really, like, when I tell you this was for me, it was for me. Because when I was saying, like, this person doing this thing reminded me of, like, my father being a kid and, being told that he was going to come get us and he never did. And you would be sleeping and you think that you overslept and he came and you weren't awake and all these other things like roll through your head. But it is rejection. And so I didn't know to name it that. I just knew that I could tie why I felt so passionately about that because my childhood self was resonating with it from this experience. So that's the step one, is the correlation. So we have step one, we have the correlation, we understand why we feel this way, what, where did it come from? It is a childhood thing. A lot of the things that cause us triggering and everything, because that's a hot word, triggered. It is parts of our unhealed child within us that it is our adult self's job to nurture that child. And nobody really like breaks it down that way. And I guess it would be very difficult if you are not like a natural parent, meaning that you don't have any kids, whether it be biologically or you're not around children in that way where you have that level of love and nurture for a child. Maybe you have a pet and you have a level of love and nurturing for that pet. That is a very similar thing. So for me, I'm very loving, I'm very nurturing, I'm very caring, I'm very understanding, sometimes to a fault, but at the end of the day, vengeance is God's. So if you was playing in my face and you thought that you got one over on me, please believe God keeps score, okay? And I'm still gonna bloom, okay? Because I'm watering me, and that's it. Point blank, period. So, with that being said, what he was breaking down in this particular portion of the teaching was what microaggressions, or not microaggressions, he said the same thing, but what micro rejections are. And this was a term that like I had never heard of. I'm like, what is that? Like, I don't know what that is. What is that? And he's breaking it down for us. And so he's saying that micro rejections are subtle or small scale dismissal or rejection that occur in our interpersonal interactions. So he breaks it down further to say they often go unnoticed or unacknowledged, but can have cumulative negative effect on your self-esteem and sense of belonging. They can be nonverbal, such as avoidance of eye contact, facial expressions that convey disinterest, being constantly left off of invitation lists, or body language that seems closed off. Micro rejections can also be verbal, like dismissive comments, like, oh, you'll be all right. Failing to acknowledge someone's input, yeah, but I think this is better. Ignoring an individual in a conversation or group setting. Anyways, unlike overt, major rejections, which are direct and clear, micro rejections are nuanced, subtle, and shady, and may sometimes be unintentional or results from lack of awareness on the part of a person who displays the rejecting behavior. However, the impact of these small rejections can still be significant, particularly if they occur repeatedly over time, as it can lead to feelings of doubt, alienation, and diminished self-worth. Whether micro or major, rejections can potentially damage your sense of self, self-esteem, your confidence, and your willingness to let others in. And when he said that, baby, I was just like, and to be fair, child, this is a 2-hour Bible study, and this is 21 minutes and 49 seconds in. And I was just like, okay, this how we starting it off? Okay. So I really wanted to dive into that because we do experience micro rejections every single day. Now, for myself, I don't really count it as rejection for me personally if I don't value that other person's opinion, which there's very few people's opinions that I do value, but if I don't value their opinion, if I don't really care what that person thinks about me, particularly because I am an understander, a firm believer, and a knower that people tend, 9 times out of ten, people who overtly are rejecting you, or like, I don't want to say overtly rejecting you, but like who do it in a like a nasty way. People who treat other people nastily generally are treating you the way they feel about themselves. So for me, I'd be like, when someone got me messed up, I just prefer for us not to even speak, because I feel like the way that it is for me, like, you don't deserve to speak to me, and I don't want to speak to you. That's just like my rationale of it, because the way a person treats you is a direct reflection of themselves. It doesn't have anything to do with you. So I do have an understanding of that. But I want to take it out of the scope of, okay, I don't care about what this person thinks, because we will experience micro rejections on a day-to-day basis. But I'm one of those people where, like, girl, I do not care. Like, get thee behind me, Satan. Good job. Bye. I ain't your friend. Go play with them little kids. Like, that's how I feel about it a lot of the times. And for me, if I don't think highly of you as an individual, your opinion on me could never sink a ship. Okay? It ain't enough water to sink a ship. It ain't enough water to float a penny. It ain't nothing. It ain't enough nothing to do nothing with. So, with that being said, we have to take what's being delivered to us in this information as it directly correlates to rejection, and turn that towards, okay, this is someone I do care about. So you have someone that you do care about that is doing these dismissals, this and that, this and that. Like, how do you react? And so I literally had to check myself, and it was so funny that this happened, that he chose, because this is he just started this series, and we, like, there was in the comments, we was all like, dang, God is coming for us. This is the second month of the year. This is how Jesus is coming. Okay, cool. So this is the conversation that we're having about rejection, and he placates to us, you know, in order to know if you're mature in this area, how do you deal with rejection? Like, what do you do? And so there was a lot of people saying that, you know, they cry, they want to get their lick back, things of that nature. And so it really had to help me look at myself in this situation, and what do I do with in situations where I'm being rejected, because he does give us language to, you know, everything that happens to us, God either willed it or he made it so. Do you know what I'm saying? So we're going to talk about that. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm just going to keep flowing. So, for myself, someone rejects me, I immediately be like, man, forget them. Boop, 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 boop. And I'm going to run to this. Like, I'm one of those people where, like, bro, like, I can replace you. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I can replace you, and I will get on to the replacing of you. And generally, there has never been a time where I actually did that and anything beneficial came from that. But that is still my knee-jerk reaction. And so I've had it, like, even 2 days ago, where something happened, and my first reaction was to be like, look, what did Beyonce say? Irreplaceable. Since I'm not your everything, how about I be nothing at all to you? Okay, child, because that's what I was on. Like, I was giving, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. And it was so funny because I was like, I like started and then I like stopped. And it didn't have anything to do with the person, but it had everything to do with me. And it was literally Holy Spirit telling me, like, hey, like, you can't do this. This is going to take too much time away from the mission at hand. And me and Holy Spirit keep having this back and forth. And this is why it's important to, I need a stronger prayer life. So I'm not even going to front y'all and be like, you got to have a strong prayer life. Like, I'm praying it down. I used to be praying it down, but I haven't been praying it down like I need to. And that is one of my pillars, is faith. That's the first pillar. And so if that area is not where it exactly needs to be, I don't feel like everything else will fall into place. So that's key. And you need to keep it 1000 with yourself. Tell the truth, shame the devil. But I do talk to God every day. I do talk to Holy Spirit every day. But a prayer life and talking to God, two different things. It's two different things. But nonetheless, I have these conversations all day long. And for this particular situation, I've like been going back and forth with both of them. Okay, with both of them. Like, no, 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 no. I smell fish. It is fishy. It is salmon, croquet, tuna patties, crab legs, shrimp and grits. No. And Holy Spirit is just like, it is what it is. And I'm like, okay, okay, okay. You have to let Holy Spirit grow you up. Okay? And I'm talking to you about Bible study right now. We is having a conversation about Bible study. It sounds like girlfriend kiki because Holy Spirit is my friend and we kiki. Okay? You have someone that knows everything, all knowing. They know no secrets to anything. And they will tell you whatever you want to know. Holy Spirit will tell you whatever you want to know if you ask. The trick is to ask the right specific question. I have had that where I asked a question and it wasn't very specific to what I really wanted to know. You also have to do that. But being able to have prayer life, have communion with Holy Spirit, being able to ask the questions of things that would need to be asked, because not only will I ask Holy Spirit about things when it comes to relationships, I ask Holy Spirit about things when it comes to schools, I ask Holy Spirit about things when it comes to jobs. Like, I had an opportunity to get, another part-time job, like do some gig work, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, like I'll do some gig work, like, that's what's up, like I'm interested in that. And I asked Holy Spirit about it. It was a no, child. And I was like, why? The math isn't mathing. And the Holy Spirit was just like, no, no, it's not the time. It's not the time. And it took me a while to realize that it's not the time, because there's so many other things that I'm supposed to be doing with this time that is very beneficial, and God will foot the bill for anything else. But going back to our rejection, like, how do we react to that? And so that is one of the ways in this specific area when it comes to relationships, how I will react. I will get my Beyonce to the left, I will. Everything you want in the box to the left, in the closet, that's my stuff. No, if I bought it, please don't touch. That's what I will be on at any given time. And that also, when I think about it, that also is a trauma response, just from a way that I grew up, what I observed as a little child. And I'd be so quick to leave everybody. I'm like, I don't care. Bye, bye, bye. And that's just a part of me. And I'll touch on it now. That's something that I do, and I know why I do it. I do it because I watched my mom stay in a situation that she should have left. That if she had left, I feel like her last years on earth would have been more pleasant than they were. They probably would have played out like she's probably still would have had cancer, or but I think she would have lived longer. I think she would have gotten to experience more. I definitely feel like I would have had her around longer. But that is one of the reasons why I'm just like not about devaluing myself, because that's what I see it as. I see it as devaluing myself at the expense of another person. So that's how I feel about grudges, because I'm queen cutter off, cut them off, cut them off, cut them off, and I've always been that way. But being queen cut them off, you also have to have really good reasons for that. Have good reasons, have good standings beyond that. But ultimately, for myself, I'm so in love with me that if I perceive a person is treating me incorrectly, they no longer deserve my presence. And that's just how in love you have to be with yourself. So it's not inherently negative or a bad thing, but you have to be in love with yourself, in love with yourself enough to not let anyone just mistreat you. So mistreat you in a way like you directly are like, okay, like, let them continue to show you who they are, because they're showing you who they are. Let them continue to do their tap dancing show and thinking that they're getting something over on you while you're trusting God. So instead of, oh, I'm gonna get my get back, da, 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 I create, because I'm a creative. I will go lift weights. I'll watch something funny. Just have conversations with my kids, because if I feel like it's a teachable moment, I'm going to have a teachable moment with them, because I think it's important to have conversation and dialogue around these certain things. And that is some of the ways that I positively handle it now. One of the things that I need to implement, which is biblical, is to pray for my enemies, to pray for them. Because, like I said before, people who inherently, or not inherently, but who knowingly do negative towards other people, who are nasty, mean, and rude, they have low self-esteem. They just do. And the way that you could tell a person has low self-esteem is because when they attack a person, they attack people for their confidence. And this is so funny, because I was actually having this conversation with my son in this area, and it's so funny, like, what's so funny about me, as it relates to like my parenting style and just like who I am in general. My kids are some good kids. They're fairly well-rounded, wonderful kids. They irritate me here and there, but wow, that's what kids do. And we were having this conversation because, child, I work overnight, so sometimes I don't know what the day is. I just be up and it's stuck. I'm just like, I don't even know what time it is. Like sometimes it was one of those days. And I'm over here thinking, I don't know what I thought. I can't even tell you what I thought. I don't know what I thought. I thought maybe I woke up and they were already home from school. I don't know what I thought. I think that's what I thought. I think I thought that I woke up and it was 3 o'clock, but really I woke up and it was 1:30. And I was like, my son is here. Like, why are you here? And he was like, well, I didn't go to school because I need that oil for my hair. So I have to set the story up by saying, my son has locks. I retwisted him. The store in which I normally buy his gel to retwist his hair is a good 40 minutes away. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to stop around somewhere else, get some stuff to do it. So I went, they didn't have the brand that I normally use. So I was like, oh, let me just get this brand. Like, hopefully it's good. It was not good. It left like a really like ashy cast to his hair. And it was like irritating, but whatever. That's what it did to his hair. And so someone I apparently made a comment to him about his hair being ashy and this and that and da da da. And I was like, so you stayed home from school because someone was trying to talk about you, about your hair, because it's like it looks dry because of this product that's in your hair? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, look, that's not something we do. Period. Like, we are never gonna let anyone attack us in our area of confidence. You want to know why this person came at you? I was like, do they have hair as long as yours? And he's like, no. I was like, is this person even black to even understand your hairstyle? He's like, no. So I was like, you let someone who is nowhere near your confidence, nowhere near your caliber, talk you out of your confidence so you felt like you couldn't show up to school? Baby, we do not do that. And I told him, he's poking fun at you to deflect the areas and flaws in himself that he hopes that nobody recognizes if he deflects things onto you. So you need to stand on yourself and be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to eat that. Because that's very important for us to do, is not to let the negativity that a person spews to hurt you in that way. But in closing, which we'll definitely have a part 2, because baby, this is 2 hours, so there's a lot more stuff in here besides that. But what I will say is that he brought a very good point, which really kind of rounded out the information for me. And he said, you know, rejection is either God's protection or God's direction. And I was like, oh my God, that's so powerful. And it made me think of points in my life where I was rejected, where it was like a cumulative of micro rejections. And I was like, oh, hell no. And I was completely directed in somewhere else, or I was protected from this thing. And that's what I hope that we leave with this. It's like, okay, rejection, it sucks in its many forms. But if we take it from a rational standpoint and not necessarily from an emotional standpoint where we're just so completely devastated, because we do have to get through the emotional aspect of it to truly be like, okay, let me dial it back and think about this rationally. When we think about it rationally, we understand that everything is intentional. Okay, the good, the bad, the indifferent. What do we choose to do with the good, the bad, and the indifferent? And I want to challenge us to look at how we react to situations in which we are rejected, and what do we do? And look at, is that a positive thing to do or is that a negative thing to do? And what can we circumvent any negative responses to positivity? Because we have to grow up. We have to mature in this area. Okay? Not just you, also me. And the level of healing and deliverance that we have in areas, you know, there's levels to it. When this feeling was arising in me, I was like, God, you already, I already forgave my father for, how he was during my childhood and everything like that. Like, I already forgave him. Like, to his face, I forgave him. Like, I was just like, it's cool. Whatever. Like, I did that work. And that's hard for a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people can get to that point, but I didn't realize how much PTSD that we have, that we really have to purge. So I'm praying that we take some time and really go through what are some things that gives a negative reaction, when we receive it, and how can we best nurture ourselves to a better place, because we are not responsible for the the damage that was done to us, but we are responsible for our healing. And I know a lot of people don't like that. They don't that really turns their stomach when people say that, but it's true. In every form. Any and everything that has ever happened to you. In every form. So, this has been an episode of From Her View podcast. I want you to like, share, and subscribe. And please don't forget, you have survived 100% of the things sent to break you. See you later.